My name's John Dee, and I live here in the Keweenaw Peninsula of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and it's basically ground zero for snowfall in the Midwest. I enjoy snowmobiling and am a meteorologist by trade, so I get to live in God's country, play in the beautiful snow all the time while forecasting for the snow. One of my duties as a meteorologist is I've got a website, johndee.com, which provides custom weather forecasts to snowmobilers, but it's just become extremely popular within the last 10-14 years that I've been doing it. Well, you know, I think the main thing I noticed once we put that Carve suspension in was the gain in confidence that I had. You know, not that I'm a beginner rider, but it seems as though I'm either riding with somebody that is more experienced than me or less experienced than me, but you know, you start riding with people that are more experienced and stuff starts getting in your head. Am I going to be able to pull that line? Am I going to be getting stuck? Am I going to be making a fool of myself? And you know, the Pro Climb, a great chassis, but it really had that narrow window of being able to hold a side hill, and putting the Carve in really opened up that window of being able to hold a line on a side hill, and so that increased my confidence level greatly when trying to pull a technical side hill on this chassis, on this sled. And it's a great thing because more confidence is allowing me to have a whole lot more fun when I'm out riding. It's also giving me more courage to go ahead and push my limits, because instead of looking at a line going, am I going to do it? It's more like, well, what am I going to do after I pull that line? And then another thing is I'm not fighting as hard all day long. So I'm not wearing out as quickly. I'm able to stay out and have fun longer. I mean, I'm pushing 50 years old, so I'm getting to that point where I need all the help I can get. But seriously, it really is made a tremendous difference in how the sled handled, especially in a technical side hill. I remember being in a situation where I actually rode up and helped a buddy get unstuck, and you know, it was off camber. I was stopped, sled was like this, line of trees below me, and I needed to do the old trick of getting the sled up and giving it throttle at the same time so that I could continue on the side hill, get past the trees and down. And you know what? In the old stock suspension that I had in there, I don't think I would have been able to do that. But with this, knowing, you know, already having a couple of hours under my belt of riding with that setup, I was pretty confident that I would be able to make that maneuver and not end up in the sticks. And sure enough, I was able to you know, pull out of that and get down fine. Well, has anybody else ridden the sled with the Carve in it yet? No, and honestly, it's because I was a little bit greedy. I wasn't quite ready to give up the sled yet. I was having too much fun riding it with the new suspension in it. So no one else has ridden it yet. Well, the first time that I knew I wanted to get an EZRyde suspension was when I was riding out west in the mountains of Wyoming, and the guide had one under his sled, and we tooled through the woods and got to a spot where there was just one little path, goat path up the hill, steep hill, really deep snow. I don't have to explain to Western riders what steep and deep is all about, but at any rate, I was second in line and he took off ahead of me. I gave him enough time to get up there and work out any difficulties he might have, and granted, this guide only has one arm. He's missing his left arm from a motorcycle accident. In fact, many Western riders may already know of him, but goes by the name of Lefty. But anyway, Joe takes this line, goes up, and I'm feeling pretty confident because what the heck, I should be able to keep up with a guy with only one arm. Well, as I get up, there's this enormous trench left behind. And I get off to one side, I start bouncing around, back, forth, back and forth, back and forth. Next thing you know, I gotta call it quits because one of my back and forths is aiming me right towards a tree. So I didn't make it. And he comes back down, and I asking him how in the heck, and he went on to say that he really felt that a lot of the fact that he made that pull was due to the fact that he had an EZRyde under his frame, and explained to me that there's a big old trench, but the nice thing about EZRydes is it may make a trench, but you leave them behind rather than getting stuck in them. And I was witness to that day, and I know that ever since I put an EZRyde in myself, I've been able to discover that you're going to leave a trench behind, but that's the good thing. You're leaving it behind. You're not getting stuck in it. And the new suspension obviously is taking it to a new level. They've got the pivoting back, which, like I explained before, gave me more confidence in side hilling because it opens up that sweet spot when it comes to side hilling. It also makes it easier to initiate the rollover, which is a good thing as well. But what it does is it doesn't sacrifice the great things about the original suspension, one of those being a shallower attack angle. And that's a big reason why a sled with this suspension will go further in the steep and deep than your stock suspension, because you look at this, you've got a shallower attack angle. So instead of a wall of track hitting that snow and just digging in, it's going to make the sled float better. Attack the snow at a shallower angle. And while it digs, there's no question that with this track and this suspension in there, it digs, it leaves a trench. But like I say, it leaves the trench and allows you to just get right through it. And there's been a number of times where I really thought that I was going to get stuck, and for reasons I can only chalk up to the suspension, because it wasn't nothing else changed. The rider didn't change, the sled didn't change. The only thing that changed was the suspension. So I chalk it up to the suspension. I got out of it. I was able to maintain momentum, at least some forward momentum, maybe rock a little bit, and next thing you know, pop right up and out.